I wish SummerSlam was right now. I wish SummerSlam was tonight, Randy. I wish you were in this building. I know you're hiding somewhere on your bus. That's
what the hell is going on?
Yourself. You don't want to be in the building with the boys.
That's our TV truck. My God, is that retribution?
What is happening? Like, I really have a question. Like, what is truly happening on Raw? What's going on, YouTube? It's Sensei and place to be chilling. I'm saying, better give you guys another Raw review for August 17th, 2020, the go home show to this Sunday's SummerSlam. And usually, now I'm not going to sit here and say I want to go watch Raw to expect to have a good show, and I expect to have a shit show neither. But this right here had to be very, very confusing because it was so many things that didn't need to happen, shouldn't have happened, was pointless, was wasted, and it just didn't follow up on anything. And I was like, what? This show looked like it was tore apart and rewritten, about 6-7 times. Now, once again, due to the pandemic, obviously my wife is here working, so I can't always have my office and use the camera as usual. So I'm here with another audio review of Monday Night Raw, so I do apologize again for those who are looking for the more visual review. So Raw starts off with Drew McIntyre that comes out to the ring, and he's talking about how Randy Orton kicked Ric Flair in the head, and how he's pissed off at how Randy Orton, the man who showed him so much loyalty and respect, you just gonna just kick him in the head. Well, you're not getting a 71-year-old old guy at SummerSlam. You're getting Drew McIntyre. As the promo's going on, we start seeing different camera cuts. We start seeing the Raw thing show. We start seeing replays from last week of Seth Rollins being dominant. We start seeing the SummerSlam match card. And I'm like, excuse me, who is fucking up this bad? And of course, we go backstage, and his Retribution is in the control truck, and they're just threatening all the producer guys, and is messing up all the stuff. I am over Retribution. They killed this for me. I don't even care who's under that match. You can put Ciampa, you can put Dominik Dijakovic. I don't care who you put under these ski masks, because right now I'm over it. Because the thing is, it's kind of pointless almost. You got this group that, once again, they didn't ever establish their name. The WWE came up with their name, and they're going around here messing with the lower people. They're messing with the jobbers. They're messing with the production people. They're messing with the audience. They ain't messing with no big stars. They ain't come down there and make a statement on any of the big stars like the new groups did, like the Nexus, or even the corporate ministry, or any kind of group that came into fruition. The NWO, the DX, like all the Nation, like these groups that when they started out, and that's just to name a few, came out and they made a statement. This thing is just silly. It's like a bunch of kids who don't know where their parents like you need to spank these kids, man. This is not a thing where it's about, hey, well, we need to stop Retribution because I'm tired of there's no threat here. You can really get there. Drew McIntyre go Claymore kick all of them, and the whole shit be done. That's how I feel about this group. Speaking of which, Drew McIntyre gets to the back and try to rally up the troops. For what? What threat are we having here other than these guys going around here messing up equipment? Like, y'all really can get two of y'all going in there, get Strowman in there, stomp these motherfuckers out, and call it a day. I'm sorry for all the cursing, but I am that pissed about this thing. So he gets to try to get all the troops rallied up, and then Seth Rollins comes to the back and says, hold on, you're not a leader. You haven't been a leader. You haven't been a teacher, okay? I'm that one. I am the Messiah. You already have somebody to lead them. And then, they don't want to take Seth Rollins' leadership. They want to take Drew McIntyre's. And then, but all of a sudden, Ricochet comes up and says, look, I heard a little birdie that Rey Mysterio was back tonight. And then, Cedric Alexander said, I heard the same little birdie too. And then Drew McIntyre said, Seth Rollins, what's wrong? Are you scared? He said, no, I'm not scared. I found a way to protect myself and to protect the people around me. And then Buddy Murphy steps up, and then Drew McIntyre pushes Buddy Murphy over. They're about to fight, and they break the whole thing up. Pointless. This is once again, nothing has carried over with significance ever. If somebody in reality, in the real world, got their eye gouged out of their head, they would not come back the next day. They most likely would have caught COVID. They most likely would have got an infection. They most likely would have just been home healing. They wouldn't be able to see out the eye. No, you're not coming back after you got your eye gouged out. And that was only last month. That was only last month. So now Mysterio's coming back. Am I mad to see Mysterio? No. But seeing Mysterio now is showing how stupid this eye for an eye match really was. And on top of that, y'all trying to rally like this is the Invasion in 2001, which wasn't that good neither. But still, the Retribution thing is even worse now. The Nexus at least made a threat. They came out and attacked John Cena, and that made the threat real. Because that's your biggest dog in the yard at that time. There ain't nobody to attack now. Once again, their biggest dog in the yard is not there. But still. And I'm like, this shit is stupid. It really is. So now we go into the Hurt Business out there in the ring, and the MVP is accusing Apollo Crews of being behind Retribution. Hey, if Apollo Crews is behind it, like, you know, real talk, that would be kind of dope. It'll give Apollo Crews something to do. But I'm like, but they just they killed the angle before it even got started. So he said they got the lights off flickering. He said, when I grew up, I knew one thing is to follow the money, and it say all this stuff didn't happen. And then when it did happen, Apollo Crews did this, so it took away my United States Championship that I paid $1,000 for. So Apollo Crews comes out and says, "Pete, look, man, I'm telling you right now, I knew you'd be out here complaining." And then he says, "Well, no, you're part of this Retribution thing." He says he isn't part of it, but he talked about how we gonna talk business. Well, we just talk business right now. I got a match with Shelton Benjamin tonight. If I beat Shelton Benjamin, then Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley gonna be banned from ringside at a SummerSlam match. Well, MVP calls him a petulant child. He gonna put him over his knee and stun him like he's supposed to. And then we get the match started. Shelton Benjamin going up against Apollo Crews, and then Benjamin's about to go for a power bomb, but then here comes R-Truth and Akira Tozawa. They run in the ring and chasing for the United States Championship, and distracts Benjamin, and then Apollo Crews hits he goes for a power bomb again, but hits the roll up and beats Shelton Benjamin. So now they're banned from ringside. So they start beating up Apollo Crews on the outside, but then here come Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, and Mustafa Ali as they all fight, but then Bobby Lashley puts Cedric Alexander in the full Nelson, or excuse me, the full Lashley, they're calling it now. But and then Mustafa Ali comes up with a chokehold. Ricochet hits him with a super kick. All the brawl breaks loose, and then R-Truth comes running back down. This is a long ass segment. R-Truth comes running back down. Shelton Benjamin hits big boots him, wins his 24/7 championship back, and the MVP says we ain't going out like that. So Apollo Crews, if you can find two clowns that'll team with you, we're gonna do a 6-man elimination match tonight. Now, that was the whole segment. A lot to take in. I'm gonna tell you right now, stop putting all the black people together. Yes, I said it was for storyline, but I'm tired of seeing it every week. These are the guys I see with the Hurt Business every single week. For the past 7 weeks, it has been the Hurt Business, Apollo Crews, Mustafa Ali, who obviously not black, but he's Muslim, Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, R-Truth, Akira Tozawa. Those 7 guys have somehow intertwined for all this time, and I'm tired of seeing it. It's kind of like going back to 2016 when it was we see Enzo, Cass, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, Seth Rollins, and I think Roman Reigns all the time for like 27 weeks straight. I'm like, my God, you got to break these guys up. Why can't the Hurt Business go around and find somebody else to fight? Why can't the Hurt Business? I mean, obviously we're caught up in storyline, but it's like after the whole McIntyre thing and Orton thing is over, like Bobby need to be going after that title again. That's what Bobby needs to be doing. You know, and they need to be doing the thing they was doing, beating up everybody in Raw Underground. You know what I'm saying? Need to go back. They got to do something else, but break the monotony up between all these guys because it is getting annoying. It's really getting annoying. And like I said, and I like the Hurt Business. I like what they're doing with the Hurt Business. I like what they're doing with Apollo. I like that they're trying to get some main stars out there, but I'm sorry. This shit is boring when you keep putting all these people in there. Backstage, we get Angel Garza talking to this new Demi girl. I don't know who she is, but I'm just like, oh my God, she's ditzy. And it irks me. So he wants to give her a rose. Then here comes Ivar with the whole, oh, Ivar, you're kind of cute thing. And then he offers her a turkey leg. And then Garza's man knocks the turkey leg out of his hand, and then also he throws another turkey leg over to and gives it to her, and like she's all like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "This shit is just dumb." So now that gives us a match between Ivar and Angel Garza. So the matchup is as average as it is. You know what I'm saying? Andrade and Selena Vega's on the outside. Angel Garza hits a drop kick, like a front drop kick to like a on his knees Ivar, and wins the matchup. How far have the Viking Raiders come? Like I've seen the Viking Raiders go up against I think the team was Coast to Coast in a House of Hardcore and Ring of Honor, and when they was War Machine, and this is what's happening to them. Like, are you serious? Well, that leads to more things because Angelo Dawkins comes up on TV with the Dizzy Demi Girl, and he was like, "Yo, fam, hold on, we got something here right now. Live that I'm gonna show the people." And then it's the cell phone that Angel Garza's like, "What's he talking about?" So they all run to the back, and then we see John Cruiser comes around and says, "Look, I heard all this commotion. What's going on? Like, what do you have?" Samoa Joe's egging it on at the commentary table, like, "Yo, this the video he's talking about, yo, man, y'all just got to see this." So when he shows the video, it shows Selena Vega is the one that poisoned Montez Ford. Okay, we kind of knew that, unless they had another kind of surprise, but we kind of knew that. So Selena Vega, so that proves nothing. It shows I have a nice jacket, but you know what? You're just jealous because Angel Garza dumped Charlie Caruso to go to this other girl. It don't matter. He said, "Look," Dawkins said, "I call a lot of people fam, but Tez is fam, and you poisoned my brother, and right now my brother want to smoke." And then Montez Ford comes back. They start beating them all up, and they beat them down until they kind of run off camera. So that was that segment right there. Once again, these long segments of long days going for the whole Angel Garza Ivar thing was pointless. It didn't need to be. Mickie James comes back, and you know how much I love me some Mickie James. Comes back to go against Natalya, and to me, I thought this was the most disrespect you have given my girl Mickie James. She is a veteran out here. She is somebody they brought her back, and the whole time during this matchup, Seth Rollins is coming out there talking to Samoa Joe about knowing about if Rey Mysterio is coming back or not, and he if you know something, he needs to let him know. And these two are out there arguing while there's a match going on, and then nobody ever knows it because Mickie James falls to the outside and she loses by countout. The disrespect to Mickie James pissed me off. The disrespect to Natalya pissed me off. The disrespect period to these women pissed me off. And I'm like, all that whole shit with Seth Rollins did not need to happen during this matchup. I understand you're trying to make it more real. You're trying to make it more like out of nowhere, and then Seth Rollins is like really on edge. But I don't give a shit. You don't do it right there at the expense of these women. Especially, I love me some Mickie James. I'm like, y'all brought her back for this? My homegirl could have stayed home right there on her Twitter account, and she could have sat there and kept doing her show. And you bring her back for this to get counted out for a match that nobody, including the people at the Performance Center, pay attention to. Sasha Banks and Bayley are out next. They talk about, they act like they was worried about Asuka, but then they said, no, they're not worried because Asuka's not going to get past the both of them at SummerSlam. So we're getting ready for a tag team matchup player between Asuka and Shayna Baszler going up against Bayley and Sasha Banks. So Asuka's in the match right now, going up against Sasha Banks, and then Shayna Baszler on the outside, and then Nia Jax comes out of nowhere, punches down the plexiglass and hits Shayna Baszler. That was kind of cool. Comes out and they kind of start fighting, but then salmon colored pants Pat Buck come out and says, "No, you're suspended without pay. You're suspended without pay," and pushes Nia Jax back. But then Shayna Baszler like, no, you ain't gonna be doing that. Trying to get her. They start kind of brawling on the outside a little bit. Like I want Shayna to legit hurt Nia Jax because Shayna Baszler can do that. I want Shayna Baszler to legit knock Nia Jax out. We go back into the matchup, and Shayna Baszler's back. Bayley tries to hit a belly to belly on Shayna Baszler. She kicks out. Sasha keeps trying to come back in, but then Asuka keeps taking her out. Shayna hits the knee to Bayley and goes for the Caribou to clutch. Sasha tries to come in, but then Asuka goes for a baseball slide. Sasha gets out the way, but she hits her with an Asuka lock on the outside. And then the Caribou clutch is applied to Bayley again. They tap out, so Asuka and Shayna Baszler pick up the win here. We got now. Ruby Riott does not like people Peyton Royce and Billie Kay talking about her friend Liv Morgan. So right now we got Ruby Riott taking on Peyton Royce again, and then on the outside, Liv is arguing with Billie Kay, but then Peyton Royce pushes Ruby Riott into Liv Morgan, where it looks like that Ruby Riott hits Liv Morgan. I hate those kind of angles where you look at like, yo, why would you do that? And they get mad at them as if they're not on TV, as if they cannot go back and watch the replay to see that it was not Ruby Riott's fault. So please stop doing this angle. I hate it. And then Peyton Royce hits her twisting brain bust. I forgot what they called it. And she picks up the win on Ruby Riott. So that's like she's back to her losing ways. Backstage, Shawn Michaels comes to Drew McIntyre and he lets him know that he wants him to kick Randy Orton's head off on Sunday and everything like that. But I want to know that when he goes out to the ring tonight, give him his space. Fine. Oh, Shane McMahon is talking to the big black guy on the outside and says, hey, are you ready for Raw Underground? Sure. As he like, this shit is so cheesy. Like, you don't go, he goes to this big guy talking about something, hey, man, come on, it's almost time. Shane goes in there, as he opens it, you see the steam come out the room, like the smoke and everything. Like, I'm like, oh my God, it's too production heavy. This thing, like Raw Underground, I am done with it just as much as I was excited when it kind of first started. But now, I'm kind of almost done with it, but now we kind of took the initiative of what things kind of happened. Like, so we had Eric from the Viking Raiders go in there and beat somebody kind of cleanly, like need him and stuff like that. And then Shane was asking like how impressive was Eric to Dolph Ziggler. He said about a 4 out of 10. And then 4 out of 10, he said I thought it'd be a little higher. He said I'm a little agile, but 4 out of 10. So they bring Ivar in there, and then he calls Dolph Ziggler up. Him and Dolph Ziggler start actually doing it, and then they start wrestling, like, you know, because Dolph Ziggler is a legit amateur wrestler. So they start doing the amateur wrestling stuff and the kind of the kickboxing thing, and then Dolph Ziggler puts Ivar in a sleeper hold. He tries to roll through, but Dolph Ziggler holds into it, and then he passes Eric out. So, hey, Dolph Ziggler gets a win on Raw Underground, like a legit win. Ivar doesn't like it, pushes Dolph Ziggler into the crowd, and then so next week on Raw Underground it's going to be Ivar taking on Dolph Ziggler. So we got kind of like story progression going on when it comes to the Raw Underground and things, stuff like that. So I know Riddick Moss is going to be up later, but before we get Riddick Moss up there, we have Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio coming out, and Rey comes out very passionate and says, you know, no doctor, if my eye hanging out, was going to keep me from protecting my son, and what Seth Rollins did to him last week, and you know, with the candlestick shots and everything, and I won't be in his corner at SummerSlam. Even though Dominic said, I don't need you, well, he didn't say I don't need you, he appreciates that, but he got this covered at SummerSlam. Then Seth Rollins and then Murphy come up on the screen talking crap, but then Mysterio and them ain't trying to hear it. They call him out to the ring, and as they go in the ring, they slip out. Dominic has some 2 candlesticks and come from behind him, hits Seth Rollins and hits Murphy, gives his dad one, and they start wailing on Seth Rollins. And he's like, ow, ow, ow. Like he does the whole Seth Rollins thing, and then they try to tie him up in the ropes, but he gets free just in time, and then they hit Murphy a little bit. So look like they're getting retribution, no pun intended, for a little bit. But I thought this was a good segment. Until the next one, we got the 6-man tag match: Apollo Crews, Mustafa Ali, and Ricochet versus the Hurt Business. Now backstage, Apollo did not pick Cedric Alexander because he just got into full Nelson and he felt as though that, you know, he said, look, man, you was using that full Lashley stuff like that, so he could be kind of hurt going out of the match. He said, no, man, screw that, I want to be out there. He said, no, you should be back here and chilling. So before the match even goes, MVP does go back there and says, look, man, I see they left you on the hindsight, so the offer to join the Hurt Business is still open if he wants to. It has like such a contemplating. So now we get to the matchup, and let me tell you something, how Mustafa Ali just returned a couple weeks ago, and his return means nothing. His return means nothing because they squashed out Mustafa Ali and Ricochet early to the point where it was a 3-on-1 between Apollo and the Hurt Business. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like Mustafa, what happened to Ricochet? Ever since Ricochet got squashed by Brock, what happened to Ricochet? But other than that, Mustafa Ali back, he shouldn't even be going through this right now. But he is. So obviously they don't care about him, and they don't want you to care about him neither. So Apollo Crews is by himself. Then he goes and gives the spin out powerbomb to Shelton Benjamin. Then he goes and gives the toss powerbomb to MVP. So now it's down to Lashley and Apollo Crews, and Lashley beats Apollo Crews. So there you have it. So the Hurt Business wins winning the matchup. So this whole thing was pointless. Didn't need to happen at all. We're back to Raw Underground, and Nia. Excuse me. Before that happens, Shelton Benjamin's on the outside. Cedric Alexander comes out of nowhere, rolls up Shelton Benjamin, and then wins the 24/7 championship. So there you have it. So now we have a new 24/7 championship when it comes to Cedric Alexander, and we're not just done yet, because see, now Akira Tozawa wants his championship, and so they have a match. Akira Tozawa taking on Cedric Alexander for a 24/7 championship, and they actually have like a legit matchup. And then he hits the what's Cedric Alexander's move that he does? Oh my God! It's on. It's been so long since I talked about Cedric Alexander's move that he does, but y'all know the one he pops up on the back of his knees and stuff like that, and the lumbar check. Jesus, it took me a minute. The lumbar check, and he wins the matchup. But Shelton comes back out with the pay dirt and gets his championship back. Too many switches of stuff with the Hurt Business. I don't need all of that. I don't need all that at all. I did miss the Riddick Moss thing from Raw Underground. Him and the other guy just brawl. But now we're back to Raw Underground, and Marina Shafir is back there now. I forgot to mention that Marina Shafir and Jessamyn Duke was spotted talking to Shayna Baszler by the Iconics when they was interviewing their match before they go up against Ruby Riott, and he was like, "Oh, so they're back. We didn't know what happened to them because they just kind of like filtered out in NXT. So now they're here on Raw. So they had Marina Shafir had a matchup, and she knocks girl out, but then all of a sudden Nia Jax comes in and just hits down Marina Shafir and kicks up Jessamyn Duke, and then Shayna Baszler's like, "Nah, we in here, we squaring up, so we about to fight." But then she rolls out, and then kind of like kicks her on the way out again, and then it leaves. I'm like, "Ooh, Nia Jax is doing a good job being a heel," because I really want them to literally fuck her up. Andrade taking on Montez Ford. Next up, as Montez Ford is coming back, and Montez is in a good spirit. He's there, he's leaping around, he's jumping, he's leapfrogging over the ring, doing spinning clotheslines to Andrade, doing standing moonsaults. This man is going to be something. I'm telling you, he's going to be something in the future. Bianca Belair comes out, takes Selena Vega down, gives her a Royal Strongest Slam on the outside. That had to suck. And then Montez hits the roll up on Andrade and hits the win. So that's the motivation. I hope they retain the tag team championships at SummerSlam, but I think it will be a good match. I think that's probably going to be, if I'm a betting man, will probably be the opening matchup. Shawn Michaels finally comes out and lets everybody know that there would be no Shawn Michaels, there wouldn't be no Bret Hart, there wouldn't be no Randy Orton or Drew McIntyre if it wasn't for Ric Flair. And he says, come SummerSlam, you're either going to get a kick or a Claymore kick, which shows interference at SummerSlam, to say the least. But then you think Orton cares? He comes out from behind and gives Shawn Michaels an RKO, and then gives him a punt kick. Now, Drew McIntyre comes out to check on Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, look, once again, I love Shawn Michaels. He's my third favorite wrestler of all time. Shawn Michaels barely sells this thing, okay? Like, it's not as disrespectful as the lollipop with the Ken Shamrock ankle lock in '97, but this is the thing, like, Orton has taken out the Big Show, Christian, Ric Flair, Edge with this punt kick and RKO. Shawn almost has his boundaries back together when Drew McIntyre comes out as he's over in the corner after he got punt kicked and RKO'd by Randy Orton. He literally really almost doesn't even sell the stuff. And I'm like, you know what? If I was Randy Orton, I'd be pissed because, I've been making myself look good all week, but then when people see that and Shawn Michaels really doesn't sell it, I'm like, look, as much as I love Shawn Michaels, no, that was a dick thing to do. I'm like, because it really was a punt kick and an RKO, and this man, or RKO and a punt kick in that order, he really almost gets back up, and then as Drew's checking on Shawn again, like he needs to be checked on, he gets RKO and sells it better than Shawn Michaels does, and I'm like, okay, and that's how we end Raw. Raw was exhausting. Raw was truly, truly exhausting. And I'm going to have to give Raw like this. I don't give Raw a passing grade. There was too much stuff about this Raw that just pissed me off. I did not like the Retribution stuff. The whole segment with the Hurt Business and Apollo and that long segment leading into this. I'm glad they're getting time on the show, but I'm tired of all these color people being boxed into one thing. And I'm like, kind of this rivalry be over so we can move on to different things. Shawn not selling any of Randy Orton's offense almost kind of takes you out the mood, to be honest with you. The things I did like was like this whole Selena Vega reveal about her poisoning Montez Ford drink, Montez Ford coming back. I didn't mind the Raw Underground stuff was actually pretty dope this week, so I didn't have a problem with the Raw Underground stuff. But yeah, it's few and far between of what the show was. So this show does not get a pass from me. So post any comments down below. Do you guys think this show deserves a pass? Did you like it? Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed my review. Hit the subscribe button for more WWE content right here on Nerd Coalition. So once again, this is NC, the place to be. Chillin' with Mr. A&D, and Nerd Coalition is out.